going on YouTube? Eddie here. Couple of updates before we get to today's project. First, I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. Truth be told, I was just getting crushed at work. Now I'm not working the crazy hours, so I am going to have some time to devote to the channel. So I really do appreciate you guys sticking around. Secondly, my CNC machine. A lot of you have reached out to me, asked me what's going on with it. So I had an unboxing video of me and the CNC machine, and it came time for me to run the machine through its paces, and I pushed the on button, nothing happened. I went through the components, went through the electronics, make sure all the connections look good. Still, nothing happened. It took me about 7 to 10 days to talk to the Chinese manufacturer about this. And the first thing they said was, "You broke it." I said, "I literally just pushed the on button." They're like, "You broke it." Oh, and by the way, their English is as good as my Mandarin, so that made for a super fun process to try to get resolution to this problem. This was a nightmare. I had to go around to the electronics with the WhatsApp, with the video, and they had to look at it. You know, my schedule wasn't always on their schedule. They're 12 hours ahead. Most conversations happen at like 2 o'clock in the morning. This was a nightmare. Finally, they sent me a new power supply, which took over a month to ship. I got it, I swapped it out, thing turned right back on. Had I known then what I know now, I would have gone to Amazon, spent $200 on a power supply, and would have been done with it. Lessons learned though. The Chinese manufacturers, they're not customer friendly, they're not customer focused, so just keep that in mind. All right, so now it turned on. I went out and I got the CAD program. It's called VCarve Pro. That's the software that you use to design your projects that the CNC reads and understands. It's a complicated piece of software, as you can imagine. I'm cutting my teeth through it. I've made a couple of different projects. Excuse me. And on today's project, I'm going to attempt to use the CNC as much as I can to build the chair. So before we do that, let's take a look at the chair, see what we're going to build today. Okay, so this is a Berkshire Chair. This was given to me by a good friend of mine. He asked if I could duplicate this chair. This was his favorite chair. This was built by his Uncle Benny, who referred to this chair as a Berkshire Chair. It's similar to an Adirondack. As you can see, the back piece though, this is just one piece. That's different. And also the armrests they're similar to an Adirondack, except these are exceptionally wide. And this was one of my friend's favorite part about the chair. He guarantees me that you could fit 12 empty beers on the armrest along with a plate of food. I don't know how he knows you can do this, but he guarantees me it can be done. So that's the Berkshire Chair, and this is what we're going to try to build on the CNC today. Okay, so our plan of attack to recreate this Berkshire Chair is I'm going to disassemble all the different pieces of the chair. I'm going to take the measurements, the length, width, the proper angles, and we're ultimately going to transfer all that data into the software. So again, we're going to start by dismantling each individual piece. Okay, what you just saw me doing, I was writing down the data from the chair components. I had to write down the length, the width, the angles, and I had to put it into my CAD program, which is called VCarve Pro. So let's fire this thing up. No, this isn't going to be a tutorial. That would take me about 1,000 years to do. But I do want to show you the 30,000 foot view of what I'm working with. So I'm going to open up a file called the arm. This is the arm that I designed. And it looks really similar to the original piece. The length here is about 28 inches. The width is about 12, and that's exactly what I was looking for. I'm going to have to glue up a couple of pieces of wood to get this size. And once I do that, then it's going to be ready for the CNC. So let me just show you what that's going to look like. It's going to make, I'm going to make 13 passes to cut this. I'm just going to take a, ooh, how do I need to click that button. Let's see here. There we go, calculate. And let's take a look. And here is the computer simulated cutting of the board. So it looks pretty cool and it's pretty accurate, which is what we're looking for. Okay, so that's the arm. Let me go back. Let me just show you what the leg looks like. We'll go to the right leg. And this is what the right leg looks like. This one's a little more complicated. There's a lot more angles involved here. And this dado, or this notch right here, I'm going to have one on the left side, one on the right side. It's going to accept a board. And this is what the backrest is going to rest against, so I get the proper angle. I know that probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense now, but it will later on. So again, this is the leg. Let's see what this looks like when we cut it. All right, again, 13 passes. And let's see what this looks like. Speed this up a little bit. All right, boom, and we're done. So that's the leg. And again, it's not the quickest method to cut these out, but it's the most accurate, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so the next steps, we're going to be cutting the wood to size, and we're going to glue them up, and then we're going to be ready for the CNC. Okay. Okay, so the first step in carving the inlay on the back of the Berkshire chair is we have to figure out how we're going to secure this piece to the bed. Now, typically, I use these hold-down clamps. I got more of these. We're not going to use these hold-down clamps in this case, just because the material's too wide. I don't want the bit to run into the hold-down clamps. So we're going to use the CA glue masking tape method. And what that is we have CA glue, and in case you weren't aware, CA glue is what we used to call super glue. I don't know when that change occurred, but CA glue is super glue. But it's a two-part glue, so you need the glue and you also need an activator. So what we're going to do is we're going to take blue painter's tape, we're going to put it down on the bed. We're also going to put the blue painter's tape underneath here. And we're going to put the glue down on the painter's tape with the activator, hold it down, and that is going to create a very strong bond. I've used it before. It works great. I haven't had any issues with the material coming up. So that's what we're going to do right now. And that's all there is to it. Like I said before, the bond is surprisingly strong. So hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, we're not going to have too many issues. Okay, let's start cutting. Okay, so what you're looking at is the backrest. I'm actually making 2 chairs. So on the first backrest, I'm going to inlay stars, and on the second backrest, I'm going to inlay the state of Texas. And what I'm doing here is I'm just aligning the CNC to start where I want to put the stars in this case. And what I'm doing here, this plate, I send the router down to touch the plate, and it tells the CNC exactly the thickness of the material that it's going to be cutting. The first cut I'm making in this inlay is going to be called the pocket. Okay, pretty cool stuff. You saw me carve a pocket in the seat back here. This is the outline of the state of Texas. My buddy who I'm building these chairs for, he lives in Texas, so I figured I'd put the state of Texas in one, and for whatever reason, he likes stars, so I just threw in a couple of stars on the other seat back. So this is the pocket, and then what you saw me do was carve the mirror image of that pocket in this Purple Heart wood. If you're not familiar, this is the wood's natural color. It's Purple Heart. It's beautiful. So again, I made a couple of mistakes. I made a mistake on this one, so I had to redo it. This one, I noticed that it didn't look right, and I looked at the bit, and the bit was broken. That's another thing that I don't tell you about these CNC machines, how many bits you're going to go through. I've gone through at least a dozen V-bits, and these things are not cheap at all. So just keep that in mind if you're in the market for a CNC. You have to definitely account for bits. In any event, what we're going to do next is we're going to take this over to the bandsaw. We're going to cut these out, and then we're going to glue up the pocket, and then we're going to sandwich the two together, let it dry overnight, and then we should be able to sand smooth the inlay. And it's pretty cool stuff if you ask me. So let's head on over to the bandsaw. Ouch! It's not done yet. Ow. Okay, so I kind of lied to you. I'm not going to cut the chair in its entirety on the CNC. As you just saw, I took the back of the chair and I rounded the corners. I took a can of wax and I traced out the corners and I cut that on the bandsaw that you just saw. This is what the back looks like. Came out all right. I think it looks pretty good. The reason why I didn't cut that on the CNC is because these backs are 41 inches long and the capacity of the CNC is only 36 inches long. So I didn't want to cut half and then flip it around and then hope that the cuts align with each other. I didn't want to take that risk, so I just cut it on the bandsaw. Probably took half the time anyway. There are going to be some other cuts like the seat slats rather. Those are rectangles. You know, for a rectangle or a square, I'm not going to use the CNC. because it'll literally take 30 seconds on my table saw. So that's what I'm gonna do. So up next, we're gonna cut the armrests, and then after that, it's the legs. Okay. Okay, this is our first armrest. I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with the result. I am going to take a round over bit on my handheld router to the top edge here just to soften it up. But again, I think this looks great. I think it looks like a great armrest. Yeah, and I think it's pretty close to what we had with the original. Pretty close. So yeah, again, this worked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, this took a lot longer on the CNC machine than it would take on, say, a bandsaw. A lot longer. But the cuts are perfect. So, and that's one of the great things about a CNC. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut 3 more of these, and then we're gonna get on to the legs. Okay, we're getting close. I do have to level with you guys. I made a couple of changes to the chair. Let me explain. The original chair was made out of 1-inch material, pine. I also chose 1-inch material, but I chose cedar. Cedar is great. You know, you could make a chair out of cedar, you can put it outside, it's never gonna rot, it's great. Problem with cedar though, it's very light and it's not very strong. So while making a chair with this 1-inch cedar may be okay for someone like myself, I'm a small guy. My friend who I'm making this for, he's bigger than me, and his rear end is, how can I say it? It's rotund. And so I'm frightened that he's gonna sit in this chair, it's gonna break into 1,000 pieces, and we don't want that, obviously. So what I did is I went out and I got 2-inch material, also made out of cedar. This is substantial, this is strong. I'm never gonna have to worry about anyone sitting in my chair and having it break, no matter how much they weigh. This is gonna support them. I did the same thing I did with the 1-inch material that I did on this 2-inch material. I put it in the CNC machine, made all the cuts, all the angles are perfect. This dado to accept the support piece is perfect. Everything looks great. So the only things we have left, we have to take a router with a round over bit on the sharp edges. We have to sand it and put it together, and we could call it a day. So let's get busy.
Okay, right here I'm gluing the cross member between the right and the left leg. This cross member is going to do a couple of things. One, it's going to add support for the left and right leg, make it rigid. And number two, it's the backrest is going to lean against this, and it's going to provide the proper angle for the backrest. By the way, when I had to change the material, the legs from 1 inch to 2 inch, I had to change every single piece of the chair to 2 inches. And this is just me gluing up the back. I figure I'd throw some star inlays into the backrest. Again, my friend has this fetish with stars. It's kind of weird, but that's what he likes, so I'm throwing them in there. Okay, so here we are bolting the backrest to the frame using galvanized bolts. This thing's not going anywhere. I have to find out what the angle of the backrest is so I can make the backrest support. This will become clear here in a second. This is why I needed to find the angle of the backrest so that the support lines up perfectly to the rear of the backrest. The old arm supports were just these thin triangles, and I thought we could do better. So this is what I came up with. I think they look pretty good. Okay, so what I'm putting in now are called dowel center markers. So what you do is you put these in and then you place this exactly where you want your material, and it lets you know exactly where to drill the hole. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm marking where I want to drill for the dowels, and on each leg or support there are going to be 3 dowels, so I'm just marking them here. So I put the dowel center markers in the holes, and then I put the arms on top where they're supposed to be. Right here I'm just making sure it's aligned correctly, taking the proper measurements, and eventually I'm going to apply pressure and use a soft mallet to to hammer where the markers are so that it'll mar the underside, so I know where to drill the holes for the dowels. Okay, so I am applying tung oil to the chair. You'll see here in a minute that my battery died, so I was only able to video about half the chair, which I'm sure you're probably thanking your lucky stars for that. But the tung oil makes it look really great, really rich. I love the look, and yeah, so it's looking pretty good.
Okay guys, we're done. I just finished putting the tung oil on the chairs a couple days ago. It really darkened the wood. So I brought the chairs out, let them out in the sun for a day or so. It really brightened it up and I think they look fantastic. I deliver these tomorrow to my friend. I hope he likes these as much as I liked building them. What a learning experience this was for me. Again, I was new to the CNC world. And I had a lot to learn. It took a long time to make these chairs and to design the pieces just because I had the learning curve is long with the software and with the machine. But my next set of chairs are going to go so much quicker because I have those files. I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I have the files, so it's going to go 1,000 times quicker. And for those of you who say that CNCs is cheating, you're entitled to your opinion. It's cheating just like a table saw is cheating. It makes a certain process a little easier, like putting in the inlays. CNC will do that a little easier. So I don't, a lot of people just think you throw a bunch of wood into the CNC machine, you push a button and out pops a chair. And that, as you saw, that's just not the case. So also I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I'm going to have more time to devote to the channel, so expect to see a lot more videos. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. If you're new to the channel and if you think I deserved it, hit that subscribe button. If you think I deserved it, hit that like button, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.